Okay, so today we're going to be making the applesauce and the apple wedges. The two different kinds of apples that I'm using are the Granny Smith and the Pink Ladies. And then I'm going to be using Baker's Corner light brown sugar, and then Stone Mill cinnamon. And for the apple wedges, I'm going to be using Land of Lakes butter. So I'm going to cut this recipe in half because I don't want a whole bunch of applesauce. So for the first step, cut 2.5 apples into wedges, and I'm going to cover that and microwave it on high for about 10 minutes. What they look like after being cooked for almost about 7 minutes. I took them out because I didn't want them to get too soft and overcooked. As you can see, they've decreased in size about 50%, and they're super soft. So I don't have a potato masher, so I'm just going to be using a fork and mashing these together. What they look like after being cooked for almost about 7 minutes. I took them out because I didn't want them to get too soft and overcooked. As you can see, they've decreased in size about 50%, and they're super soft. So I don't have a potato masher, so I'm just going to be using a fork and mash. Look like after being cooked for almost about 7 minutes. I took them out because I didn't want them to get too soft and overcooked. As you can see, they've decreased in size Okay, so these are both types of applesauce. This is the Granny Smith, and those are the Pink Ladies. While the Pink Ladies were cooking, I had some taste testers taste a little bit, so there's a little bit less of the Granny Smith, but overall the Pink Ladies didn't really seem to mash as well. I overcooked them first, so I tried them again, and I kept having to, as soon as it got past like 7 minutes, I would cook it for a minute and then mash them and then continue cooking. So after they all were mashed, I put in a little butter just to make them a little creamier. So as you can see, this is kind of more chunks and this is more pureed apple. Overall, I think I like the Pink Lady taste just because it's a little bit sweeter. Next, we're going to move on to the apple slices. So as you can see, I've already chopped up, peeled, and wedged the Granny Smith apples, and then I added 1/4 cup of brown sugar and then a teaspoon of cinnamon. So then we're just going to heat that for 8 minutes, and because we're adding the sugar before, that's going to help keep the apples in shape. So unlike before when we put it under high heat, the apples denatured. It's going to Okay, so these are the two sliced apples. These are the Pink Ladies, and that's the Granny Smith apples. After they were cooked, I added a tablespoon of butter, and then I didn't add any salt. I just added a little bit of finishing brown sugar to enhance the flavor a little bit. I did a little experiment because in the lecture video it says that sugar acts as a preserving agent which prevents the browning. So I coated these with brown sugar, and then I left it in the fridge for about, I'd say, almost 12 hours, and it actually did a really good job of preventing the browning, but it did shrivel the apples a little bit, which, as you can see, which it could be why the Granny Smith apples are a little bit smaller than the other ones. But overall, they turned out really good. I'd say this one, the Pink Ladies, has just a better flavor. It's a lot sweeter, which could be due to just having a higher sugar content in the fruits.